You said nga kanina very early on, ang hirap nung start-stop, ang hirap nung on-off, no? All these false starts. Now, in the past week, it's been a pronounced, practically official paradigm shift. Government now says very explicitly, let's stop talking about community quarantine, let's start talking about granular lockdown. And granular lockdown, that's the new paradigm now, that's the guiding principle behind everything. Is that a more predictable regime at the very least? Can you work with that?
Yes, we can work with that because even if, okay, we are, as an economist, I feel the need to advocate the opening of certain aspects of the economy in order to save whatever's left. Okay, so if a granular regime will allow more businesses to operate, then we're okay with that. Of course, we're also worried about transmissions, and we are worried about that. But it's got to be balanced, no? So whether it's a bubble for NCR or cities that achieve herd immunity or a granular lockdown, either way, so long as certain aspects of the economy can operate, should be fine.
Sir, we were talking last night to Dr. Anna Ong Lim from the Technical Advisory Group of DOH, and well, she did reiterate that vaccines don't really prevent transmission. They only lower the chances of critical infections or very, very serious infections. So her point was a bakuna bubble would not necessarily prevent infections from being transmitted around among those vaccinated who may end up bringing it home to those who are not yet vaccinated, or who may bring it out to those in the public who are also not yet vaccinated. So that does raise up the possibility that you would have more transmissions going around despite the vaccinations.
It really has to be calibrated, and a compromise should be reached. Because let me just tell you, latest figures, you already know that the economy contracted 9.5% last year. And in the first semester, the growth was only 3.8%. So what we're looking at is pre-COVID levels only in the last quarter of 2023. Now, that's not even what I'm most worried about. What I'm most worried about is because of business stoppages, okay, there's no revenues coming into government coffers. Walang tax kasi walang business activity. No tax, no business activity means we're on deficit spending. Our deficit is at 7.5% of GDP, which anyone you talk to, that is a scandalous level. Our debts are already 60.4% as of last March, 60.4%, which is already in the red line limit. So forget the investment grade rating, we're going to be downgraded very soon. Interest rates will shoot up. Plus, we're borrowing another 10 trillion pesos. So with all of this, remember how it was in 1984, 1985, 1986 during the debt crisis. It took us, that's 1986, we only balanced the budget in 2004. That is 18 years. So is this something that we want to put to the next generation? It's got to be balanced. That's my point. It's got to be.
But how much of a salvaging will this bakuna bubble do really? I mean, when you put it in the context of 18 years to pay up the debts that we're already piling up right now, how much will this bakuna bubble now actually help relieve that, if at all?
Got it. Luchi, it's like this. Most of the affected businesses are MSMEs, okay? And even large corporations. Now, because of a lack of cash flow, okay, the non-performing debts of banks are accumulating, and that's no secret anymore. They're already above the 7%. I think they're already in double digit, no? Now, once they reach 15% threshold, you're looking at the, really knock on wood, but a worst case scenario, the collapse of the banking system, because you have a pile of non-performing debt, businesses can't pay, businesses are belly up, and the financial system collapses. So what would that mean? That would mean that we'd have to devalue the peso. That makes every Filipino poorer. So, it's a very slippery slope that I feel it needs to be balanced. Look, the bakuna bubble is one option. The granular is another option. But one thing is for sure, lockdowns cannot go on indefinitely. And lockdowns cannot be hoisted each time there's a surge. It's just not a viable solution, as France has found, as Singapore has found, and other countries too.
Okay, Andy,
Well,
I'm curious about the fallout for the MSMEs, and as you pointed out, that's going to translate to fallout for the banks themselves. So if I emerge somehow still alive out of this, and I want to make a push, where do I go for credit now?
You know what? And that's really the problem, Rob. And I'm glad you really brought that up, because there is a directive from BSP itself, BSP Governor Diokno, for banks to be more supportive of MSMEs. But MSMEs are high risk now, no? And the reality is that even existing credit lines are being cut, and loans that are not due are being called. So talagang bloodbath para sa MSMEs natin.